Hello, and welcome back to another reading vlog. I haven't done one of these in a while. I just haven't had any good ideas that have inspired me so much. But here we are. I kind of found something that I think will be interesting to others, and I'm excited to get started on this. But before I get into the video, I wanted to just say thank you so much for watching, and I would love it if you would like this video and subscribe. Your support means the world to me, and I just can't thank you enough for watching my videos. So the first book that I'm gonna read for this video is Natural Beauty by Ling Huang. So I guess I should start by saying the overarching theme, although you'll probably see the title of this and already know, is reading 3 new release books that haven't gotten great reviews. So all of these are books that I don't know, for some reason these are getting negative reviews or just really average reviews, but that really interest me. So I'm pretty excited. I think this will be a fun little vlog to see if I agree with all of these reviews I've seen. So yes, Natural Beauty by Ling Huang is my first pick. And I don't know if I've talked about this at all. I did get this copy sent to me by the publisher Dutton, so thank you to Dutton Books. I'm just going to read this a little. Our narrator produces a sound from the piano no one else at the conservatory can. She employs a technique she learned from her parents, also talented musicians, who fled China in the wake of the Cultural Revolution. But when an accident leaves her parents debilitated, she abandons her future for a job at a high-end beauty and wellness shop in New York City. The store, Holistic, is known for its remarkable products and procedures, from remoras that suck out cheap Botox to eyelash extensions made of spider silk. And her new job affords her entry into a world of privilege and gives her long-awaited sense of belonging. She becomes transfixed by Helen, the niece of Holistic's charismatic owner, and the two strike up a friendship that hazily veers into more. All the while, our narrator is plied with products that slim her thighs, smooth her skin, and lighten her hair. But beneath these creams and tinctures lies something sinister. So this sounds right up my alley. I love it. I think that the wellness industry and the wellness movement is a joke, so I really enjoy reading books that poke fun at it. Some others that I really enjoyed were The Goddess Effect, and one that it was nonfiction, The Gospel of Wellness, just books that really kind of expose this whole industry and just how it's just so unnecessary. And this sounds like it could be a little culty, maybe? We'll see. But I'm excited to read it. It does seem a little out there, but I think I'm really going to enjoy it. Next that I'm planning to read is Community Board by Tara Conklin. I know I talked about this. It's about a woman, Darcy Clipper, prodigal daughter, nearly 30, has returned home to Murbridge, Massachusetts after her life took an unwelcome left turn. Murbridge, Darcy is convinced, will welcome her home and provide a safe space in which she can nurse her wounds and harbor grudges, both real and imagined. But Murbridge, like so much else Darcy thought to be fixed and immutable, has changed. And while Darcy's first instinct might be to hole herself up in her childhood bedroom, subsisting on Chef Boyardee and canned chickpeas, it is human nature to do 2 things: seek out meaningful human connection and respond to anonymous internet posts. As Murbridge begins to take shape around Darcy, both online and in person, she considers the most fundamental of American questions. What can she ask of her community, and what does she owe it in return? So this definitely feels like my kind of book. I know it does have some of, like, different mediums. I think there's, like, there's, like, community board posts, and I just think this is going to be a great read. I think maybe a little bit funny, but a little more heartfelt, and I just love the cover. It's so pretty. So excited for that as well. And the last one I'm going to read for this video is What Happened to Ruthie Ramirez by Claire Jimenez. So this is about a woman who, she was 13 years old and she disappeared, and then 12 years later, her family sees her on a reality show, and she calls herself by something different, and she's got red hair, but they could definitely recognize her. And then I think I think it mainly follows, however, the family after Ruthie's disappearance. And I love family drama type books. I love anything where, slice of life kind of situations. I don't know if this is exactly what that is, but I do enjoy those kind of like character driven slice of life books. So I think this is going to be really interesting, and there's maybe a little mystery to it where she like goes missing. So I'm looking forward to getting started on this. I'm currently in the middle of another few books that I want to just kind of like knock out before I get started with these, but that will definitely happen today. I am almost done reading Saturday Night at the Lakeside Supper Club. That's what it's called. And I'm enjoying it. I loved this author's two previous books, so I think I'm maybe a little bit let down because I don't think it lives up to those, because he writes very, very character-driven novels, which I love, but this one like doesn't really even seem to have much of a plot at all, which is kind of necessary for a book to be something that I'm really gonna grip onto, but I'm still enjoying the reading experience. I have about 60 pages left, so I'm definitely gonna finish that soon, and then I'm gonna get started on one of these. I haven't decided which yet, but once I do and I get started and have an update, I will be back. Okay, so I wanted to update yesterday, but I just didn't get a chance to. I have started Community Board. This is what I decided to read first, and I actually am like flying through it. I have less than 100 pages left, so I'm definitely planning on finishing it today. It's interesting. The first, okay, let me start over. It's not organized in chapters. It's organized in seasons, which means that these are essentially really long chapters. The first one, I think, was around 65 pages, and then the second one was like another 65, and so like it's kind of hard to read in that way, just like there's not really distinct stopping points. There are some little parts where we're reading like emails or reading like posts on this community board, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to find a place to put it down. So the first, I don't know, 2 seasons of this were so boring. And the main character, she gets dumped by her husband who, yeah, he says, I am cheating on you and I'm leaving you. I'm going to be with this woman that I cheated with. And so she like falls apart, as you should, within her rights, and she goes back home to her parents' house and finds that they're not there. They have taken off to Arizona, where they're considering moving, and she is just absolutely wallowing in self-pity because not only did her husband leave her, and her friends aren't really there for her because they were kind of like their friends and they just took his side, I guess, but her parents aren't there for her. She was an only child, so like she's like, why aren't you here? I need you. And like whining and whining. And I'm telling you, that goes on for like over 100 pages. She like paints her bedroom black and like doesn't leave the house. Her father had like stockpiled canned food for Y2K, and it was like still in their garage. So she just has been like eating canned food forever. And like I'm telling you, this ends up being like, I think about 4 or 5 months of the like timeline of this book. But she does start to go onto like the community board, and she's like, shoot, I have to find a job because I have to like eventually eat something besides canned food. And so she starts like finding people's lost pets and claiming rewards. It's very weird, and like there's just so much self-pity. And granted, I get that that's a really horrible thing to have to go through, your spouse cheating on you and then leaving you, but it was just it's a book, so it needs to be entertaining, and it just kind of wasn't. I really was close to DNFing this, and honestly, I might have if it wasn't for the fact that I already started this vlog, but I think it's getting a lot better. I have the second 100 pages I've gone through much faster than the first 100, and it's definitely piquing my interest a bit more than it had originally. She's made a friend in the neighborhood. There's sort of like a mission that they are trying to accomplish at this point. So I do think that it's like taking the right direction to where I will like it at the end. But that first half, I I don't think it's going to be able to come back from that as far as like star rating for me, but we'll see. I just got home from working out. I'm going to eat a little dinner and take a shower, and then I'm going to finish this and I'll be back with an update. All right, I am clean, I am fed. I did have to change my shirt because I got pizza sauce on it as per usual, but I did finish reading Community Board. This actually is a lot shorter than I thought because this is like the Barnes and Noble exclusive edition or something, and so the end of it has like some pages from like a draft, I guess, like the first draft she did of this, and I'll get to that in a minute, but I would say this was probably was like a 2.5 or a 3. I wanted to like this a lot more than I think I did in actuality. I know that the beginning was so boring and so slow, and the main character, whose name I've literally already forgotten, Darcy, oh my god, literally just finished this like 5 minutes ago. Darcy is just so unlikable. Like, I know she's going through some stuff, but my gosh, she's such a brat, and it's just so hard to like, I don't know, relate or feel anything towards her, honestly. The ending was cute. It did feel like it all worked out a little too well, like there was just not realistic, and that's fine. But there were definitely points where it felt like this book wanted to just was like being quirky for the sake of being quirky, and it didn't really make much sense. Another thing that really was kind of irritating, which doesn't normally bother me, is that there were no quotation marks. Like, it wasn't just that there were no quotation marks, but the way that it was done made it very hard to tell what was dialogue and what wasn't. I don't know. I think if that's something that bothers you, it's really going to bother you in this book because I don't know. It was just there was no distinguishing way to tell what was dialogue and what wasn't. So you just really had to like be paying attention. And it doesn't feel like there's any reason for that. I don't know. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, so a lot of times when people complain about lack of quotation marks, I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know it didn't have quotation marks." But I guess I don't know, it's not that big a deal to me, but it did feel like this took more effort than it needed to for me to get through. Okay, so as I said, this has like this Barnes and Noble edition with some like extra pages at the back that kind of go through like her first drafts of this book that she wrote pre-pandemic. This book is set in 2019, so there isn't actually any pandemic talk, but it was interesting, and reading like her author's note at the end was interesting about how being isolated and kind of feeling like you're alone in the world isn't solely a pandemic thing. Like, humans have been feeling that for as long as humans have been alive. So that was pretty interesting to kind of think about and learn about. But she did write this during the pandemic. And so I don't know, the way that these pages are from her original drafts are much better to me. Darcy is a character that went through the same thing, but is much more likable, maybe a little bit more of a people pleaser, which I guess could be negative, but like, I think it's fun when characters are kind of like snarky and, whatever. But she wasn't really clever. Like, her snark was just mean. She wasn't really fun to read. I don't know. But I would have liked this book better, the one that she started, where Darcy was just a little nicer, a little more carefree, even though she was going through something really hard. So that's my opinion. I'll probably give it 3 stars on Goodreads because, it was, once I got to a certain point, an entertaining book, but that first half, man, that's a struggle. But yeah, So I'm now gonna start reading What Happened to Ruthie Ramirez by Claire Jimenez. I am going tomorrow with my husband and my sister to back to my hometown in Florida for my grandma's 93rd birthday, and it's a surprise. So that will be fun. I'm not positive how much reading I'll be able to get done while we're visiting, but this book's only like 220 pages, so hopefully a decent amount, at least like on the plane. It's like a 2.5 hour plane ride, so yeah, that will be nice. And next time you see me, I'll probably be in a different background. I'll probably be in my childhood bedroom, but maybe it will be tonight. We'll see. I'm going to get started on that, and I will check in again later. Hello! So I'm so sorry in advance if there's like ambient noise. I am in a house full of people. I am in my hometown, Sarasota, at my parents' house in my childhood bedroom. And I just want to update on what happened to Ruthie Ramirez. So I'm really enjoying this. I'm over halfway through. I think I only have like 75 pages left, honestly. I was able to get a lot of reading done on the flight down here from Philly. It's like 2-ish hours, so that was good. So this is like about a woman who, or not a woman, it's a girl. She disappears. I think she's supposed to be in 7th grade, and her family, it takes place in the present. One of her sisters has seen this girl on TV named Ruby, who she's like, that's her. That's exactly what Ruthie looks like, except older and more done up. This reality show that she's on is like super trashy. I don't know if anyone remembers the show like Charm School from VH1. So it was like from Flavor of Love, all the girls that like were on it had to go to Charm School because they were all like fighting and being gross and just like icky with each other. And so it reminds me of something like that. The show in the book is called Catfight, and it's just girls getting into fights and being petty and like going to clubs. So they keep watching the show and they're like, that's her, like this is her mannerisms, yada yada. And it really is just like pretty character driven about this family, the mom and the two sisters of Ruthie, and how they are getting through this and trying to find out if this is her. And yeah, there's not like a ton of story. Generally, it's just them kind of getting on with their lives, and then the two daughters are making sure that the mom doesn't find out that they think Ruthie is on this show, because what could she do to help? And also, it'll just be upsetting if it's not. So at the point I'm at, the two sisters, their names are Jessica and Nina, they are planning a road trip to go out to this club where they know the show will be filming and hopefully see Ruthie/Ruby in person and be able to like confront her and see if it's her. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this today just because I am here at home and like wanting to spend time with my family, but I definitely will finish within the next couple days. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it's gonna go. I did bring Natural Beauty, the 3rd book that I'm reading for this vlog, with me, so hopefully I'll get to that before too long. And yeah, I'll update when I have more to say. Okay, so it's just a few hours later, and somehow I managed to finish my book. I really liked it. I think I will end up giving this 5 stars. I thought it was really well done, and it definitely went in a direction I wasn't expecting. It definitely, again, is character driven. It's really about the relationships between these 3 women: Nina, the youngest sister, Jessica, the oldest sister, and Dolores, the mom. It really wasn't so much about Ruthie's disappearance. It's about just this family and how they interact with one another and their relationships to each other. So if you like books that are more character driven and just really focus on relationships, you will like this, I think. I thought the end was really well done. It definitely was not what I was expecting it to be. And I don't know, I feel really moved by this book, especially the ending. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but like, this will not be a book for everyone. I understand why this has only like 3.5 average rating on Goodreads, but I think I'm going to give this 5 stars because I really enjoyed it, and I
I found it really enthralling and I couldn't put it down. I mean, I read the whole thing within 24 hours, so not a long book, but I really did enjoy it. So I don't know. I definitely consider this one a success for me. And I'm looking forward to reading my next one, Natural Beauty. I am going to probably start it tonight. It's about 10 o'clock, but my family's just up watching basketball, so just kind of hanging out. And yeah, I might get started with that. But this was so good. It's hard to talk about without like revealing any of the details or what happens at the end, but I just really liked this family. They're got a lot of dysfunction, but I love like family drama stories, and this was definitely a good one. It really took a lot out of me. There was a lot of emotion, and it made me feel a lot. So yes, definitely a success. And once I start reading Natural Beauty and I have some more to say, I will check back in.
Okay, so I didn't maybe do a great job with my updates on Natural Beauty because I'm home in Philly now and I read basically this entire book yesterday. So I was on a plane for most of it and then we got home at like 8:30 and I was just tired and I didn't feel like making any more clips. But I did finish this. I overall gave it a 3, maybe a 3.5, but mostly just because it was really weird. The writing was beautiful and it is a debut novel, so that was always nice to see. Like, this writer has a lot of promise, I think, as an author. And I think this is an interesting story, but I got lost somewhere in there. It's very weird, it's very graphic, and I read a book recently that is kind of similar but more of a humorous take on the same thing. I don't want to say what book it is because I feel like it'll give it away, kind of what happens at the end of this. But this is basically about a woman. She was an incredibly talented piano player, and she was in this conservatory. And her parents were Chinese immigrants, and they basically did everything they could possibly do to make success for their daughter. And they were also piano teachers, and they just, worked super long hours trying to give her the whole world that they didn't have. So she goes to this conservatory and she's doing really well, and then something happens to her parents and she basically drops out because she's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't play without my parents' like support, and I just can't do it. And so she's really struggling through life kind of for a little bit, and she's working in a restaurant, and then one day this woman just comes in and is like, hey, you're that pianist. I want you to come talk to me at this store that I work at. And so she does, and it's like this super natural, like, beauty store that also does like these spa treatments, but they're all like for really, really fancy rich people, and they're all like kind of from like animals, like silkworm eyelash extensions and like weird stuff like that. Like, they have like this whole zoo where they keep all the animals that they use, of course, humanely, use these products from them, or I should say make products from whatever they produce. And it's just like bonkers. And then, of course, things just keep getting weirder and weirder. And then we just hit a whole mess of weirdness. So this to me was 3.5. Like I said, I just think maybe it went a little too out there for me personally. I think this will definitely find an audience with like maybe people who like body horror. I don't necessarily have an issue with it, I didn't think, but this one didn't do it for me so well. It just was kind of eh. But I do think people will enjoy this if that's the kind of book that you are into. Yeah, for me, this is just meh. I'm getting ready to go to book club today, and it is Independent Bookstore Day, so hopefully we will be able to hit up a bookstore or two afterwards. But yeah, that is probably where I'm gonna wrap up this video. I thank you so much for watching. Overall, I would say this video was mostly successful. I mean, none of these were books that I like disliked, but Ruthie Ramirez, definitely the MVP of this video. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. I would love if you would subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.